Treasures of Sudanese Sufism, a journey through heritage books and manuscripts. طبقات الله. Welcome dear viewers to a new episode in our series dedicated to discussing, to present, to introduce the book of طبقات by Muhammad Noor. A monumental work regarded as one of the most important books of Sudanese heritage and one of the principal sources that perceive the image of Sudanese society during the foreign sultanate. In previous episodes we highlighted the scholarly and historical significance of this work, which was become an indispensable reference for researchers of Sudanese society in terms of religious, with a special focus on Sufism and Islamic culture, as well as a key source for understanding the religious, cultural, and intellectual foundations of Sinnar society. In referring here to Sinnar society, that is because the birth of the first Sudanese state was there and occurred and taken place in Sinnar, and it has been named the Kingdom of Sinnar or Foreign Sultanate. In this episode, we continue our documentary journey through this enduring Sudanese manuscript by exploring another dimension of its importance through the perspectives of scholars, researchers, and specialists in Sudanese heritage who have examined its contribution to the study of Sudanese history, thought, and culture. As you listen, the audience, our encounter with Muhammad Noor Allah handling his book طبقات الله renews today, and as you follow this time, would like to discuss, to share the significance of the book. Is there any significance that counted for the book or not? So it is the focus of our introduction or the focus of our presentation this time. And as concern, I would like to tell many scholars regard طبقات الله as one of the most important sources for studying northern and central Sudan during the Fon period. During the Fon period starting from 1504 to 1821. The tradition of composing طبقات literature has continued to flourish in Sudan up to the present day. Between 1990 and 1995 alone, at least 3 biographical dictionaries of Sudanese figures modeled after the طبقات genre were published. Despite the significance and vitality of this literary and historical genre, it remained largely unknown or underutilized among 20th century historians of Sudan. Two factors help explain this relative obscurity. The first was accessibility. Most Sudanese biographical dictionaries published during the 20th century were produced inexpensively, in poor print quality, or in very limited numbers. Many scholars have pointed to the absence of Arabic collections in research libraries across Europe and North America, and some of these works may even have been unavailable in major Sudanese libraries. The historian Richard Hill highlighted this problem when he observed dozens of small books are born in Sudan without an imprint, without a date, and sometimes even without a title page. They circulated briefly and then disappear without having a trace. The second factor was a lack of scholarly awareness. Sudanese and non-Sudanese historians alike often fail to recognize the potential of these biographical dictionaries as valuable sources for understanding the leading political and cultural figures of northern Sudan, especially during the Anglo-Egyptian condominium period, starting from 1898 and ended with the year 1956. Consequently, their readership remained largely confined to authors, colleagues, acquaintances, and observers of Sudan's cultural and political landscape. Popularly known as طبقات الله, the book is among the most celebrated works of Sudanese literature. It is considered one of the foundational texts of Sudanese heritage and the earliest printed reference for the study of Sufism in Sudan. Its significance is multifaceted, foremost because it is a primary historical source for the foreign sultanate. Throughout its pages are numerous references that illuminate Sufi life, social practices, and the position occupied by senates and Sufi masters within social and political life. It also documents educational institutions, including circle of learning and remembrances and khalwas dedicated to Quranic and legal studies. So the audience, I'm sharing the significance of the book of طبقات Muhammad Nur Allah. The book covers one of the most formative periods in Sudanese history, during which the early foundations of the spread of Islam and its religious and cultural influence throughout the country were established. Another important aspect of this invaluable work is that it provides biographical accounts of Sufi masters, scholars, poets, Quran reciters, and several poets and literary figures. According to some editors and researchers, the number of individual cover ranges from 259, according to Mark Michael, to 270, according to Professor Yusuf Al-Hassan. In addition, the book contains valuable references to sultans, ministers, governors, and professional administrators, while offering important information on administrative, social, political, and religious systems, as well as the customs, traditions, and social norms that characterize Sinnar society. And by the way, Sinnar here represented the central part of the country in addition to the northern Sudan. For the establishment of first Sudanese state, I'm referring here to Black Sultanate or Fine Sultanate, cover the areas that is included the present day of central Sudan in addition to the north part of the country. And this is during 1504 to 1821. The author of كاتب الشونة أحمد الحاج أبو علي refer to the book, I'm referring here to the book of طبقات as a book of the classes of righteous, كتاب طبقات الصالحين. It is widely believed that the book was never brought to its final form by its author, remaining instead in a draft state open to additions, omissions, modifications, and revisions. Most likely, the work remained unchanged after the author's death and did not undergo editorial revision comparable to that undertaken for Tarikh Muluk Sinar, the history of the kings of Sinar by Ibrahim ibn Abd al-Dafi' al-Amin al-Darir and Zubair al-Dawwa. Given its importance, many scholars have devoted considerable attention to the book and its contents. Some have introduced and analyzed the text, others have highlighted its significance, while another group has used it as a gateway to understanding the origins of Sufism during the 4th Sultanate. Others have focused on abridging or refining its biographical interest, while some have translated it into English. More recently, rigorous scholarly critical editions have emerged as among the most serious academic efforts devoted to the text. For example, the researcher Tajassir Uthman argues that Muhammad Nur Allah is documenting the reality presented in طبقات, express the uniqueness of the Sudanese experience, distinguishing it from earlier models of طبقات literature such as Sha'rani's طبقات and طبقات الكبرى. According to Uthman, Allah was himself a direct product of the educational system established by the Sufis during the early Fond period. In this regard, and to quote Uthman, Allah benefited from the established historical writing traditions that prevailed throughout the Islamic world in terms of form, such as طبقات الكبرى and Sha'rani's طبقات of Senate's righteous men. However, when he wrote طبقات, he took Sudanese particularity into account. He did not merely repeat what was already known from Sha'rani or طبقات الكبرى. Rather, he produced a history of Sudanese Senates, righteous men, scholars, and poets. In doing so, he offered valuable insights into Sudanese social, economic, political, artistic, literary, scientific, and religious history. He even employed the Sudanese dialect that was prevalent at the time. Still, the speech for Tajassir Uthman was deeply local. And it was precisely this local character that transformed the book into an essential source for studying Sudanese history during that period. He was, therefore, the product of the educational system developed by the people of the Fond, a system that emerged authentically from the needs of Sudanese society itself. The audience, I would like to remind you that I'm presenting Muhammad Nur Allah with his noted historical record طبقات وضيف الله. In this encounter, just I'm sharing the significance, the importance of the book according to some researchers and authors. So in this part of the episode, I would like to share another view and perspective about the significance of the book of طبقات. And here we have the researcher Muhammad Jamaluddin. So the researcher Muhammad Jamaluddin argues that طبقات represented the historical enlightenment. Enlightenment directed toward ordinary people themselves, establishing for the first time in medieval Sudan an independent authority for writing outside official institutions. In his view, this explains the continuing debates surrounding the book, since it was neither a product of official bureaucracies, merely an oppositional response to political authority. Rather, it constituted an authority in its own right. Still, the speech to Usman, طبقات was written in the language of ordinary people and spoke about their concerns, perceptions, ideas, dreams, imaginations, illusions, frustrations, sorrows, and inherited myths. In a fragmented historical environment, it was highly unusual for someone to speak in the language of the people for the benefit of the people, rather than in the language of administrative institutions, sultans, kings, and rulers. For all these reasons, طبقات possesses remarkable simplicity, creativity, and authenticity. It may appear naive at the first glance, but it is not. Rather, faithfully mirrors its historical moment to the greatest extent possible. The book is one of the most important written monuments and a foundational source for understanding all aspects of Sudanese society during the French Sultanate. It is also recognized as the earliest printed reference for the study of Sufism and Islam in Sudan, and primary source for the history of the French Sultanate. It significantly influenced Sudanese culture, particularly its spiritual, religious, and literary heritage, remains an invaluable resource for the researchers interested in Sudanese history, Sufism, and Arabic literature. Without Allah's work, much of Sudan's early history might have remained unknown. Nevertheless, the book has generated considerable debate among contemporary Sudanese intellectuals and historians. On one hand, many praised it for its rich biographical material and valuable information concerning Sufi leaders, kings, shuyukh, judges, and poets during the French era. On the other hand, some critics object to certain narratives they regard as legendary or unrepresentative of authentic Sudanese Sufism. These critics argue that the author did not clearly distinguish his position regarding certain accounts that many undermine the credibility of the Sufi path itself. So the audience, this is just example and sample of some views from non-Sudanese historians and researchers regarding the book of طبقات, and as you follow the book of طبقات of Allah is the first ever Sudanese written record being by a Sudanese writer describing the lives of Sudanese people during French Sultanate. And as I told, French Sultanate considered the first modern Sudanese state to be established, starting from 1504 and ended with the year 1821. And for this comes the significance of the book, for it is a true reflection mirror to the actuality, to the reality, to the behavior, to the interactions of the people during that era. And for this, what Allah as an author ought to be praised, ought to be thanked. That is because if it were not of his book, then we have no knowledge about how Sudanese people live, what is their way of living, how they interact with each other, who were the prominent figures among them in terms of religious leaders, political leaders, scholars, and poets. So, thanks to Muhammad Nur Allah for he provided us with that image to the Sudanese life during the 16th century and beyond. So before to end the episode, I would like to point out the sources that I have depended on to present the episode. تاج السر عثمان, كتاب لمحات من تاريخ مملكة الفونج الاجتماعي, Publishing Khartoum, the 3rd edition 2025. محمد جمال الدين, article طبقات وضيف الله وعلة التوثيق وعظمة الحضارة وتناقض الذات في تاريخ السودان الوسيط والحديث. Published article on Sudanese Online dating to 27 of October 2017. عمر محمد الأمين, وقفة مع بعض المرويات الشفوية والسماعيات والحكايات المؤسسة للشخصية السودانية في كتاب الطبقات. Published article in Sudan Nile. And then we have Abdullah al-Sheikh and his book التصوف بين الدروشة والتثوير, published in the year 2018. By this, the audience, I came to the end of the episode. Till seeing you in another episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.